I'd like to call the meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Burke County Board of Commissioners regular meeting for Tuesday, August 16th at 2022 at 6 p.m. Madam Clerk, we have all 5 commissioners, Abley, Taylor, myself, Britt, and Carr as well in attendance. We got our county finance officer, Ms. Margaret Pierce. We got our county manager, Mr. Simpson. We got our county manager, Mr. Steen. I would remind everyone in the audience to please silence their mobile devices. And if you do come to the front this evening to speak at the podium, be sure the red blinker is on so the folks watching on YouTube will be able to hear you. If you're here to speak for informal public comments, we need you to please see Madam Clerk to sign up to speak. And that being said, we'll begin with our invocation. I'm going to ask our good friend, Pastor David Bridges, to lead us in our invocation, and then I will ask you to please remain standing as well while our county attorney leads us in our Pledge of Allegiance. Pastor?
Let's pray together. Lord Jesus, we thank you and praise you for this wonderful day that you've given us. One more chance to serve you and love you, God, in the beauty of the creation that you've made for us. Tonight, God, in this meeting, we pray that you would have your perfect will and way for our city and our county, God. We pray that you would keep everyone's attitude in check, Lord, in all things, in every word and deed that's done. Let us bring glory and honor to your name. For, Lord, it's all about you. We give you glory and honor and praise tonight. In the wonderful name of Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank y'all. Thank you, Pastor. Thank you, JR. Gentlemen, that'll move us on to item number 4, approval of the agenda. There is a motion, ask for a motion to approve the agenda as amended with the inclusion of additional meeting minutes from the March 16th recess meeting.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Abley. All those in favor signify with uplifted hand. Those against?
Opposed?
Opposed?
Added after the 50th.
That is 4-1. Commissioner Taylor is opposed. Moving on to item number 5, approval of meeting minutes. Gentlemen, you've had a time to review the minutes. What is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion that we approve as written.
We have a motion to approve the minutes. Gentlemen, all those in favor signify with uplifted hand. Madam Clerk, that is 5-0. That gets us to presentations. Item number 1, Pet of the Month, presented by Caitlin Suttermeyer, Animal Services Director. Got a good-looking dog that was getting a lot of attention before the meeting, and with an interesting name.
We do. This is Fiji. Fiji came to us with 4 other dogs, and their names were Dasani, LaCroix, named after a few different kinds of water. So he is the Fiji water bottle. And he's probably my favorite. He is absolutely amazing. So Fiji is our dog of the month, and he is looking for his forever home. So for anybody who has loved on Fiji and fell in love, he is available at Animal Services. He is a very laid-back dog, loves hanging out with a family. He gets along well with other dogs. Small children are not his favorite. He is currently in a foster with a small child who knows dogs. He does well with him, but he does growl from time to time to let him know he's getting a little fed up with his shenanigans. So I would recommend that he go to a home with either older children, just so he can live out his glory days. He's probably about 6 to 8 years old. But he is neutered and he is ready to go. He walks great on a leash and he is house trained. So please come to adopt Fiji. He's been with us quite a while at Animal Services. We also, of course, we don't bring our cats up here, but we have a cat. His name is Leonard, and of course, Leonard got adopted today, but he was absolutely amazing. He's a beautiful cat, so if you are in the market for a cat, I do encourage you guys to come down to Animal Services and meet all of ours. We've got many to choose from. If anybody heard about our press release that we had not too long ago, we had taken in close to 600 animals since the beginning of June, which has been a lot. So please come and visit us if you're in the market to find an animal. I did include an operational change notice on here just so everybody can be aware that we are still operating in triage mode. Just due to the high volume of animals we have had to take in, we were unable to complete stray holds properly. So, and that is state law that we are required to do that. So we are having to triage everything that comes through our shelter. So the more animals that we can get out the door, the more animals in the community that we can help. So come down and see us, please. Fostering, adopting is always needed. And that is our next slide here is how you can get in touch with us and where to come and visit us. So if you guys have any questions, I will take those.
Gentlemen, questions, comments for Caitlin?
Aren't we having a sale?
We are, due to the recent influx of animals, we are having a discounted adoption event this week. This is where our dogs are $40 and our cats are $10. So you cannot beat that bargain for a new best friend. So like I said, please, please, please come down and see us.
So how many dogs do we have presently?
I've lost count. I've lost count. At the shelter, we probably have close to about 20 right now. We've been adopting quite a few cats, and we have close to 30 in the shelter, which 2 weeks ago we were sitting at about 80, 85. So we've been adopting quite a few cats.
Do you think you're getting a lot of these cats in because the higher expense it is to feed an animal?
I do think finances may have a small reason to do, but I think lack of spay neuter, especially during COVID, was a big reason why we're seeing a large influx of animals right now. People didn't have access to spay neuter for, year and a half. So I think that's another big reason, but I think finances, people are feeling that just a little bit. And we do offer a community pet food bank, so if anybody needs help with food or any other assistance, I encourage you just to come down and speak with us. We can see what ways we can help you keep your pets, because that's what our all-end goal is to keep pets with their people.
It's really getting expensive. I paid $4 more for a 35-pound bag of dog food.
It adds up. I feel you. I have to feed mine too.
So it's just, I wondered if that was being part of the reason for getting so many animals into the shelters.
Yeah, I think finances have a little bit to play in it.
Any other questions, comments, gentlemen? Peak season's about over, correct?
I'm hoping.
Okay.
Historically, yeah, we're usually in the fall months, end of September, beginning of October, we tend to see a downward trend in intake.
I think people are just not aware, you do that much money, $19 times, 12 months gets to be a good bit of money, and people don't realize it till it just kind of slips up on them.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
I think I want to start me a dog food business. What do you think? Thank you, sir.
Mr. Taylor, any other questions or comments? If not, Caitlin, you and Fiji, please, somebody please adopt Fiji or adopt or foster any of the animals down there. Obviously, y'all have done a great job of getting these animals adopted and fostered during a challenging time. And Fiji just seems so sweet and laid back.
He is. He's wonderful. So we are open till 7. So if you get through your item, come down and see us.
Thank you, Caitlin.
Thanks.
Well, that'll bring us up, gentlemen, to item number 2, the UNC Health Blue Ridge presentation on Project Forward, presented by Kathy Bailey, President and CEO of UNC Health Blue Ridge, and I know she has a guest here, Danette Brackett, that's Executive Director and Executive Director of Business Development as well. How are you?
Very good, thank you. All of the commissioners, we appreciate the opportunity to speak with you tonight. We have a good news story. We serve North Carolina as part of UNC Health every day, and you can see on the map how it's spread out. See on the map how it is spread out across the state. So we'll start with who is UNC Health Blue Ridge. We're Blue Ridge Healthcare Hospitals. That's 2 campuses, one in Morganton, one in Valdez. We are Grace Heights Health and Rehab Center, College Pines Health and Rehab Center, Grace Ridge Continuing Care Retirement Community, Pfeiffer Wellness Center, Blue Ridge Radiology on Highway 321. We have an ambulatory surgery center, that's Carolina Digestive Care, and we have 45-plus physician practices spread over 3 counties, Burke, Caldwell, and McDowell. Grace Heights and College Pines, we own the buildings, we own the license. We do contract the day-to-day management of those to Sandstone. So continuing with the numbers, as I said, we're 2 hospitals licensed for 315 beds. We have long-term care licensed for 285 beds. That's 100 at College Pines, 120 at Grace Heights, and 65 healthcare beds at Grace Ridge. Our continuing care retirement community, Grace Ridge, has more than 225 residents. We have employees of a little over 2,000 and a medical staff of 250 plus providers. In 2021, we had gross revenue for our healthcare system of $1.1 billion. We had net revenue of $300 million, and that is the $800 million that we write off due to insurance and government allowances and adjustments. It cost $820,000 a day to run this healthcare system. I get asked quite often, why did we transition away from Atrium to UNC? We were with Atrium since 1999. We were actually the first community healthcare system to affiliate with Atrium, then known as Carolina's Healthcare System. We had a management agreement. A lot of people think that they owned us, but we simply had a management agreement. But we had a very strong affiliation. We were on their IT platform for all of their clinical and their business applications. And in 2014, we changed our DBA to Carolina's Healthcare System Blue Ridge to show the strong affiliation. But within the last 5 years, we saw a change in the direction for Atrium. They had been focused on small community hospitals throughout the state. They had 14. When we exited them in October, they had 3 smaller facilities that remained. They had changed their focus to acquiring large systems throughout the Southeast. Their most recent acquisitions were 2 large healthcare systems in Georgia, and then a few months ago they announced a merger with Advocate Aurora Health in the Midwest. So their goal was to become one of the largest healthcare systems in the country. Not right or wrong. It's not saying that the direction they went was the wrong direction. It was just different, and it was not the direction that the board felt was appropriate for Blue Ridge. So they then transitioned to UNC. They started that October of 2021, and it's a management agreement. UNC Health does not own us. We adopted their brand, so therefore our DBA is UNC Health Blue Ridge, and we did that because the U.S. News and World Report in May of 21 actually said that UNC Health was the 2nd most trusted healthcare brand in the country, beat out only by Johns Hopkins. The other reason for this change was when we look at UNC, that NC part of that is never going to change. So the focus will remain on North Carolina. We don't have to worry about their focus going outside of the state and acquiring other large systems. They are very focused on community rural health care. They have 14 regional hospital affiliates. Only 2 are very different from Blue Ridge, and that would be the Medical Center at Chapel Hill and Rex Hospital, the large tertiary quaternary center in Raleigh. All the others are very similar to Blue Ridge. And then the most compelling reason for the change is that UNC Health is looking to regionalize healthcare across the state, and they were looking to Blue Ridge to be the hub of what they will call the Mountain Region. So as we look at the beginnings of the Mountain Region Hub, we will start to identify the specialties and subspecialties that we can provide here with the assistance of UNC Health so that we can start offering some tertiary level health care here in Burke County. Our goal is to be able to provide everything that's appropriate for us to provide and to keep patients as close to home as possible. We implemented their IT platform July the 23rd. It's Epic at UNC. And in the healthcare world, Epic is best in class for electronic health records and their IT applications. We are beginning an application to become a Level 3 trauma center that will allow us to serve all trauma patients in this region. The other closest accredited trauma centers, Level 1 is Carolinas Medical Center in Charlotte, Level 2 is Mission, and Level 3 is Cleveland in Shelby. So we look to become a Level 3. We can provide care for patients that would then come to us and not have to go to the larger hospitals. With our new construction, I'll talk about in a minute, we will have a helipad on the roof of our new patient tower, and we are in the process of recruiting trauma surgeons. And it allows us an opportunity to expand graduate medical education. We are beginning an affiliation with Campbell University School of Medicine so that we can have medical students again. But right now, we have 36 residents and fellows that are trained right here in Burke County. We have an internal medicine residency, we have a gastroenterology fellowship, and a gerontology fellowship. It has been shown through studies that residents usually will stay and practice within 100 miles of where they did their residency. So this is an opportunity for us to grow our own providers, keep them close to home, and right now we've got about a 20% retention rate of the residents that have been through our programs. Exciting news on both campuses. Valdez new construction project is a brand new cancer center. It'll be 34,000 square feet at a cost of $38.3 million. It'll have 2 new linear accelerators, 18 infusion chairs, 6 private infusion rooms, 12 exam pods, and then space for therapy and group sessions. We held the groundbreaking on May the 18th, 2022, and we'll be working with UNC Cancer as we move forward to bring other cancer services to this community and to implement clinical trials. And here in town on the Morganton campus, our new construction project is a 6-story patient tower. It's a cost of $118 million. It'll be 227,000 square feet. Housed in it when it opens will be a 30-bed intensive care and progressive care unit. It'll have the rooftop helipad, which I talked about earlier. There'll be 3 shell floors for future expansion as we grow tertiary level services and become the hub for the UNC's mountain region. And it'll have a new expanded emergency department. It will almost double the size of what we have now. It'll include 30 beds, 4 trauma bays, 16 exam rooms, and 10 behavioral health rooms. We feel that Blue Ridge and what we bring to this community is a good news story. We enjoy being the provider of choice, serving the people of this community, and we truly feel that we are friends and neighbors, taking care of friends and neighbors. Be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you. Gentlemen, questions, comments?
Mr. Chairman, just one comment. You notice Valdez, I mean, you mentioned Valdez, and I don't know, you probably don't know, but I thought I had COVID and went to the emergency room, and they found an 80% blockage in one of my arteries. And they shipped me to UNC up here, and I've never had a nicer experience with a hospital in my life, and I congratulate that whole team. And that surgery, by the way, didn't hurt as bad as a mild toothache. So I guess you could say, and it was funny, I looked at my wife and I said, you know, it's 7 short miles to the Valdez Emergency Center from my house. I said, wouldn't it be bad if I sit here and gave you and everybody else around me COVID, said, let's go see what's wrong with me. That's what we did. But anyhow, very good experience, and I congratulate you and the staff and all the people that make up the many employees at UNC Blue Ridge, because it certainly was a blessing and a wonderful experience to be sick.
Thank you. We like those good news stories.
Thanks, Commissioner Taylor.
Kathy, can you just simply tell us what's the difference between level 1, 2, and 3 trauma?
the level of service that you can provide. Level 1 is normally at your large tertiary centers. They have much more subspecialties. They have 24-hour neurosurgery, heart capabilities. Level 2 is kind of in between. It has some services available, but maybe not 24/7. And then level 3, we have to have a trauma surgeon, and we have to have other specialties available, but we would not be required to have neurosurgery and cardiovascular surgery.
Kathy, I just want to take a minute to thank you again for your staff and what you do for us here in this county. I appreciate the switch from Atrium to UNC. I think the vision was totally different, and I think you and your folks recognized that from the very get-go, and you made the conscious decision, or your board did, to go with UNC Health, and we do appreciate that. Feel like you've stepped into the real world of medicine. This is very, when you listen to everything that you're going to do in the future, a lot of money associated with that. You employ a lot of people here, and we do appreciate that. But again, your group that in the leadership role, we appreciate that, and I wanted you to know that. And working with Dr. Frank and your head nurses over there, it's just been a pleasure, and we do appreciate everything that you've done for Burke County.
Thank you. We're happy to do it.
Gentlemen, any other questions, comments? And I will say, Kathy, I just want to echo kind of what Johnny said. Y'all are our biggest private employer here in the county, and I'll speak when I talk with other counties our size. Really, I don't know of any other counties in the state, maybe I'm mistaken, that have the level of service and the commitment, and having 2 hospitals, campuses in a county of 90,000 with the level of care we have is rarely seen. And I could be wrong, but the folks I talk to, they're very envious. So we appreciate the investment you do, not only your business investment, but folks, they also give a tremendous amount of community support to our nonprofits and community outreach. So we really appreciate that too.
Thank you.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, gentlemen, you've heard the presentation. Do we have a motion to accept the report as presented?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. All those in favor signify with uplifted hand. Madam Clerk, that is 5-0. We'll move on to item number 3, Burke Recovery, proclamation declaring September as National Recovery Month in Burke County, presented by our friend Kim James, Executive Director. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing? It's nice to see all your faces today. So I'm always the one that shows up with the really depressing things to talk about. So I'm going to start with that, but I'm not going to finish with that. So I'm here today to ask the board to declare September. It is National Recovery Month. We would love for that to be declared as Burke County's Recovery Month as well. So the proclamation that you have before you talks about average age of first use. And I know you've heard me say this, but I think it's one of those things that bears repeating. 12 and a half years of age is average age of first use. We have 3rd graders that are violating the drug-free school policies. We have kindergartners that are engaging in high-risk behavior. And obviously we have middle school and high schoolers who are also engaging in that. So we're looking at a situation where prevention is absolutely required. Overdose rates from 2020 to 2021 went up over 18%. Fentanyl overdoses increased over 313%. 911 calls just referencing overdose went up almost 35%. And then heroin overdoses went up 23%. That's the depressing part, right? So now comes the idea, well, what are we going to do about it? We always want to address problems like this upstream. We are currently addressing them downstream. But the key to it is the entire stream, is to address it everywhere from prevention to intervention to treatment and then, of course, recovery. So the question is how? Well, substance use is a problem that affects all of us. The impact hits all of us. So therefore, the solution also needs to come from all of us. It requires collaboration. I'm not just here representing Burke Recovery today, which is a facility in the county, but I'm also representing the Burke Substance Abuse Network, which is a community coalition dedicated to addressing substance use. Recovery truly is a journey and not a destination. It requires continually putting one foot in front of the other, one effort in front of the other, and working every day to not just allow people to survive, but to allow them to actually thrive. That's why we're asking you today to declare not just September as Recovery Month, but to also declare Burke County as a recovery community. We would love to see that this is a wholesome effort that includes everybody. It's holistic. We are even hosting on September 24th a recovery rally. Last year, in the midst of COVID, we had over 600 people come out and express their desire for Burke County to be a recovery community. It's a beautiful thing to see everyone coming together to save our children, our brothers, our sisters. Everybody that overdoses is somebody's son or daughter. We don't want to see that happen anymore. We want to save sons and daughters today and tomorrow. So we're here asking that you will declare September National Recovery Month in Burke County. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Gentlemen, comments?
Mr. Chairman, if I might just offer one, I think most of us went to the North Carolina County Commissioners Association's meeting, and 3 of their sessions interacted with drugs, opioid, fentanyl, and all the other things. And some of this stuff is so shocking to me, it's just unreal. I never did want to do anything that hurt me when I was a kid. And my dad made sure we didn't do anything to hurt anybody else. Now, he had 16 children. And that old song, if the right one don't get you, the left one will, applied to our house. And to this date, this is not a brag, but to this date, unless somebody slipped an alcoholic beverage in my drink, I've never had as much as a beer. And I say that to say this, the training somewhere has to start before that temptation is so big that they react to it or respond to it. And to think of 12 and a 12.5-year-old would even think about taking something that would take their life, it's beyond my comprehension. And I've got a solution, but nobody will follow it. But it's simple as this. Whatever the overdose load is, and let's say it's 4 pills for an example, you only get 3 pills. And if it's 1 a day, you don't come back till the 4th day, because we're not going to give you 3 when you got 1 on the last day and give you 4. But, you know, I know that's daydreaming a little bit, but I'm just trying to say that it's phenomenal. And again, the money that taxpayers are spending on this, on overdose, is more than people could even think about, let alone try to understand. And somewhere we need to get a better handle on this than we do at the present. And I'm just kidding you with my formula. I know nobody's going to give three pills, but you can see the point. That is, if 100 aspirins will overdose you and kill you, don't put out 100 aspirins in a bottle. Put 25.
If only policy could save us, that would be great. But you never know. For you, it may be 3 pills. For Scott, it may be 1. For me, it may be 10. I mean, we all have different physiology. I would love if a formula would solve it. That would make my life so much easier and everybody else's. But that's the key to prevention, right? Is to teaching young folks and also their parents the dangers of even trying it to begin with. And understanding coping skills and life skills, and how can I deal with something instead of turning to a substance? How can I handle this moment in my life instead of taking a drink? How can I do those things? What alternatives do I have to pain medication? And making sure that we have those partnerships and that education available for people.
Well, I always appreciate a little more of those people battling a battle that you just affected. You don't really win it, and I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. Any other questions or comments? All right. Yep, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Gentlemen, what's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve proclamation number 2022-04.
Thank you, Commissioner Britton. All those in favor signify with the uplifted hand. Madam Clerk, that is 5-0. We'll move on to item number 4 under presentations. This is proclamation for inaugural Chamber of Commerce Literacy Week, presented by Tanya Stevenson, our Chamber President and CEO. How are you this evening? Long time no see.
Long time no see. Jeff and I started our morning together and ended it today. Saw you at lunchtime, so busy day. Thank you, the Honorable Chairman, Commissioners, Manager, Clerk. We had a little joke about that from earlier today. Thank you so much for allowing the Chamber of Commerce to present to you tonight. We come to you asking you to declare the week of September 19th as the Burke County Chamber of Commerce inaugural Litter Sweep Week. We are so excited to have this new program in the Chamber of Commerce. Last fall, our Chamber of Commerce adopted a new program of work, and in it had this inaugural litter sweep. And we feel like, as a chamber, that it's a small part that we can play in helping to clean up our county with the help of everyone across the county, because we have so many visitors who come and visit us each and every week, and we get the pleasure of seeing them in the office. We have potential investors who come through this county, and a lot of times we don't know that they're here, that they're out looking at our community. And if we've got litter on the side of the street, it's not a good impression for these folks. And so we just wanted to play a small part in helping to clean up our county. The statewide litter sweeps are in the spring. We thought it'd be a great time for us to do it in the fall. So we are looking at September 19th. I am excited to announce our new partner is Republic Services, who's going to be our presenting investor for this event, and we are so thankful for their partnership and support of the event. I have with me also tonight Jenna Cole. She is our staff person for this event. She is on fire for it. I'm so excited to have her to be able to take this program and run with it, and I think that she'll do a great job, and we're looking forward to putting it on for our community. As countywide, we are asking people to think about teams that they could put together, Boy Scouts, youth groups, church groups, school groups, businesses, organizations, board of directors, civic groups, anybody who's got a group. We hope that they'll put their group together and come out and help us on September 19th, choose a location throughout the county and go out and pick up trash on the side of the street. We will be providing the supplies like the vests, the trash pickers, gloves, and bags. They just need to drop by the chamber, sign up, and we'll provide all that with them or for them. We are going to have a kickoff event a week or so ahead of time, and we'll have a celebration event a couple weeks after the event. At the celebration, we will be giving cash prizes to the team that picks up the most. We're actually going to give 3 cash prizes, first, second, and third place. So it's a little incentive to get out and pick up a lot of trash. So we have more information on our website. If anybody's interested, burkecountychamber.org. They can come find it there, or they can always call the chamber, and we'll be happy to talk to them about it. I want to say a special thank you to Brian, who's been so helpful with us, Kay and Mark and Alan. They've all been so willing to work with us and help us through this process, and our appreciation can't be said enough for them. So other than that, I'll be happy to answer questions, and I thank you, commissioners, for allowing me the time tonight to speak to you.
Thank you, Tanya. Gentlemen, questions, comments?
Be nice to have our roads and streets cleaned up, and I appreciate the effort. And we will thank the volunteers in advance. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. Any other questions or comments? I will say that, we've been saying this at the end of every commissioner meeting, please pick up trash, help your neighbors out. And it's, and Johnny mentioned this, I don't know, it was a meeting 6-8 months ago. You pick up 50 years ago in Burke, they had the same problem. It's never gone away. No matter how we attack it, it never seems to change. But I think it's fantastic that you're doing this. We've been talking about it. So anything we can do, and Jenna, thank you for leading the charge on that. I think it's fantastic. Any other questions, comments?
I would just like to say, I was hearing you last year. I kept hearing that and picked up on it, and it's part of why we're doing this.
I hope we'd make it the initial litter sweep year instead of week, because that's about what it comes down to. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve proclamation number 2022-05.
Thank you, Commissioner Carswell. All those in favor signify with uplifted hand. That is 5-0, Madam Clerk. Tanya, thank you very much. Thank you for what your staff does as well. Thank
Thank
y'all.
you, guys. We appreciate
luck.
you.
Well, that'll move us to item number 5, EMS, recognition of receiving the American Heart Association Mission Lifeline EMS Gold Plus Award, which is fantastic, presented by Nicole Hudson, EMS Training and Operations. How are you?
Good. How are you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Mr. Manager? We're going to present to you this evening our 6th annual American Heart Association Mission Lifeline Gold Plus Award. For most of the information, I'm going to defer to Sergeant Buchanan. He's our AHA and STEMI coordinator. He's the liaison between our crews and the receiving hospital, so he has most of the information.
Give me just a second. I have a prepared statement. I'll read that and then answer any questions you may have. Burke County EMS has received the American Heart Association Mission Lifeline Gold Plus achievement for its commitment to offering rapid, research-based care to those experiencing the most severe form of heart attack, ultimately saving lives. The Mission Lifeline Achievement Award is earned by agencies that demonstrate a commitment to treating patients according to up-to-date research-based practices as outlined by the American Heart Association. I want to recognize that this award is a true team effort. From the leadership of from Director Black to the volunteer first responders that assist us on the scenes. It takes all of us to provide this level of pre-hospital medical care to the citizens of Burke County. Director Black would like to specifically attribute this special recognition to an award to our highly trained staff, their ability to identify and appropriately manage cardiac emergencies, along with the teamwork displayed from our telecommunicators, first responders, paramedics, and hospital staff. We'd like to thank you for your commitment to us and for your continued investment in our EMS system. Any questions?
Do you have any questions?
Gentlemen, questions, comments?
Boy, don't they look good in those sharp uniforms.
Well, thank
They
you.
do.
We came up okay. We get off the truck.
We appreciate your hard work, and we appreciate you bringing this prestigious recognition to Burke County. Thank you very much.
It's amazing what y'all do. Can get this year after year. It just spoils us. So, but it's a tremendous accomplishment. So, on behalf of the commissioners, just fantastic job. So I know that's a lot of hard work and training goes into it.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask them a quick question?
Sure.
Cole, how long have you been with EMS here?
2010.
Do you remember us ever winning an award like this before 2016?
Without showing a lot of pride on my part, no, we did not, because we had never applied for it for 2016, first year I applied for it.
Because I know the board here has done a lot to support EMS with equipment and training.
Absolutely, and we could not, especially this last year with the amount of equipment we've added under the ARP funding at your approval, the level of care we provide, I think I speak for the service, the level of care we provided in the last year has went through the roof, astronomically changed. So we're very grateful for that. There's a lot of data and a lot of science, a lot of statistics that go behind this, but I hope nobody ever has a heart attack. I hope you never do. But if you need to have one at home or at Walmart or out in the community, Burke County is the place to do that. We are the best in the area. We are the best this side of the country as well. So we're very fortunate to be here.
Fantastic. And any other questions, comments? It's okay.
That's it. I just wanted this board to get the credit it's due.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Once again, fantastic job. Thank y'all so much for all you do.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman, maybe
Yes.
we could invite our audience to join us and give them a round of applause for that.
Absolutely. Thank y'all. Gentlemen, what's the pleasure of the board? We have a motion to recognize and congratulate the EMS department on this prestigious accomplishment.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Britton. All those in favor signify with uplifted hand. That is 5-0, Madam Clerk. That'll move us on to item number 6, Community Development, presentation on the North Carolina Foothills Experience website, presented by Alan Glines, our Deputy County Manager and Planning Director.
Thank you, Chairman Mulvey. Thank you, Chairman Mulvey, Vice Chair Carswell, and Commissioners, members of the public and staff. We have a presentation today by my friend Allison Adams, who's the Community and Regional Planning Director with the Western Piedmont Council of Governments, who will share the North Carolina Foothills Experience app that her team developed for the four-county region of Burke, Catawba, Caldwell, and Alexander counties. This is a recruitment tool for new workers to our region who will also help local residents learn about the many things happening in our region. These types of collaborations are so important as we try to attract job seekers, young people, families, and retirees to our community. Just this week, Business Facilities Magazine, which is a corporate site selectors magazine, as a part of their 2022 Global Rankings report, rated the Hickory Metro, which includes Burke County, within the top 10 places for manufacturing in the entire country for mid-sized regions. Actually, we're number 8 out of 10. That's important. As our four-county region competes with other regions for new businesses and manufacturing facilities, tools like the North Carolina Foothills Experience will support those recruitment efforts. Incidentally, there were so many other categories where North Carolina rated within that top 10 list. There was business-friendly climate, number 1, North Carolina. Life Sciences Hub, Bioscience Leader, Manufacturing Output as a percentage of the gross domestic product, number 7 out of that top 10 list. The Tech Talent Pipeline, we were number 4 in the nation. Healthcare Jobs, number 9. Customized Workforce Training, we were number 6. That's thanks to the community college system across the state. Semiconductors, number 8. Recovery Leaders, number 6. Too many to list. I didn't go through the whole list because there were so many more. The North Carolina Foothills Experience will be another tool to help support growth for Burke County. So thank you, Allison.
Make sure I don't trip and fall on my way up here. Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. What I'd like to do is I'd like to share the tool with you. I want to talk a little bit through, let me just get my screen pulled up here and get this thing reloaded. And then I think, let's see. I think it's because it's sat here so long. Let me try to reload it. There we go. Okay. If I turn the sound on, is it going to cause a problem?
If you turn the volume up.
Yeah, on this. I don't think it's going to work. Anyway, okay, so we'll just roll with this. It's fine. So this is the beginning of the app that you see whenever you open the web page. We bought several domains, and it's www.expncfoothills.com. This was a 2-year project. It was funded by the Economic Development Association CARES Act money. As part of our SEDS at the COG, which is our Strategic Economic Development Strategies, this was one of the pieces that we were trying to focus on as a strategy and a goal. And that is to retain our workforce as well as attract new workforce, citizens, residents, and really showcase the quality of life that we have here in the four-county region. So when you open the application, what you'll see is this splash screen right here. All of the drone footage that you see in this application was done by COG staff. We have 2 drone pilots. You will see flights from all over the region. We tried to really showcase that so that the viewer gets drawn in and gets excited. As you go down, so you scroll down, you will see our logo here. So the application, the website, as well as the logo was released on July 13th. And we had a really good turnout. We used Open Hearts Bakery to provide the food. CDG brands to provide the swag or the car logos and things like that. Miss Sarah Wirt is the designer of the logo. She did a fabulous job. We feel like it's a really good replication or representation of our region. And the name NC Foothills Experience was really thought over because there's several terms that have been used throughout time about our four-county region. The Unifor, the Hickory Metro, and I think there's a few others. So we wanted something that would speak to everyone, not just a certain group. And so we're all the foothills. That's what we recognize, and that's what we want everybody to have, a foothills experience. So the word experience, what we also thought was very important about this tool is that some of the smaller towns and cities that don't really have the funds to be able to market themselves and their experiences, they could take this, use it, and then stick their name in front of the word experience, and they have a marketing tool. So with this, we wanted to focus on quality of life in the region, and we have plenty of fun and culture on tap. The data shows that we are losing our population between 18 and 45. And one of the things that we're trying to really prevent with this is to show folks, hey, there's plenty to do in this region. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful place to live, work, and play. So as you scroll down, when you get to the website, you'll see the logo. It'll explain a brief explanation of what the tool is supposed to do. And then we devised 4 main categories. And we identified these categories as the top 4 that really attract folks and retain folks. So the first one is outdoor adventures, and they're all color-coded, and then we'll walk through it. So outdoor adventures is our hiking, our biking, our recreational opportunities, our greenways, boat accesses. The next one is fun places. So those are all of our cultural amenities, our museums, libraries, festivals, and downtowns. The next one is farm fresh. And this really became very apparent during COVID that when everybody got nervous about going to the grocery store to get fresh produce and things of that nature, and you were kind of scared about, well, who's touched what and what about COVID? So we really wanted to capitalize on our local farms and our farm to table with our You Pick Farms and our roadside stands and our local butchers. And then the last one is cool spaces. So local breweries, wineries, distilleries, coffees, bike shops, outfitters, they all go hand in hand, especially you typically see them with recreational experiences. So on the weekend, you're going to go out to Fontaflora, maybe grab a beer, maybe take a hike. And so we want to capitalize on that. So as you scroll down, there is a drone video that it's longer in length. It shows a lot more of the region here. We also wanted to make sure that we showed our proximity. And when folks are looking at proximity, especially for recruitment of business and industry, they want to know, how close are you to the airports? You know, where's Charlotte? Where's Greensboro? Where's Asheville? So we showed them. We're not that far away. We're actually a good distance. And even if you don't work here and stay here, you can day trip here. And then, of course, we wanted to pay homage to our stakeholders and our partners. So all of our local governments, our chambers of commerce, our visitors bureaus, our ag extension offices, our schools, our downtown associations. We had over 75, 80 stakeholders that we pulled into this project to make sure that we hit all of the areas to make this tool work for as many as possible. So as you scroll back up, so what you're going to see is you can take a trip. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to cool spaces. And I'm going to focus on, I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to click on Perry's Berries. So the first thing that you're going to see pop up when you click on that icon, there's going to be sometimes a drone video. And remember, all this is done in-house. There's also going to be more information. So this will take you directly to their website. So you can get there, you know, get more information, etc. The other cool thing about this is you can do driving directions. So how do I get there from point A to point B? It's a quick, simple, easy tool to use. And then as you get, oh, I'm sorry. Gotta remember not to do that. There's also photographs and there's descriptions. This is 508 compliant, so there's descriptions of everything. That's part of EDA. You have to make it accessible. And as you can see on the left-hand side of the screen, there is a list of what the icons actually represent on the map. So let's say, okay, we traveled to Perry's Berries, and that's one of our cool spaces because it's a vineyard. And now we want to go to the farm. And so we're going to go to Nob Hill Homestead. And so it'll give you a description, again, more information, driving directions, and beautiful photos. We had so many people contribute photographs and information. People were very engaged in this and very excited. So again, the Farm Fresh. And then, so, okay, now we're done with Perry's Berries. We've done Nob Hill. Now I think, well, let's just go do something fun. So we're going to go to a point of interest. And if you notice, the map doesn't, so when I scroll in and I want to plan my adventure, the map stays. So if I go back to Farm Fresh, it stays where you are. So you can literally plan a day trip in proximity. You know, if you're 10 minutes from everything, fine. If you're 30. But you can plan your whole entire trip. So we're going to do the annual Wild Engine Festival. And so again, you have beautiful photography. And this was compliments of Valdez Downtown Association. And then, so when you see this on the fun places right here, this is districts. So there's also drone footage of all the historic districts, downtowns, so people can actually fly and see. We want them to have an immersive experience. So when they're on a greenway and they're traveling the greenway, they're not way up in the air. They're literally on the greenway path. It's almost like they're running on the greenway. So you can feel the experience and say, yeah, I want to try that, or no, it's not my cup of tea. We're going to go try something different. And so it really allows folks to have an informed choice. Outdoor recreation. So one thing I want to, let me see if I can jump over here real quick. I want to go to Catawba Meadows Farms, and I will share this drone video with you. So this is what I was talking about being immersed in the trail and the experience. This is what you're going to experience when you're up there and you're actually doing the Sky Bridge. And it shows you, what the park has to offer. The good thing about this is that each of these opens up in a separate tab, so you don't have to keep hitting the back button. So I will finish up by saying that we really appreciate all of our stakeholders. They have been an enormous help in putting this together. In fact, without them, this would not be what it is. We are looking to grow the tool. There are 2 other phases that we would like to do. Like I mentioned, this was originally, or the idea is a retention and recruitment tool. And I've already been working with Tanya, with the chamber, and getting hooked in with the human resource directors in the area so that they can utilize this as a marketing piece. They can send the logo and the link, and they're trying to recruit somebody, then they'll be able to check out what the area is like, especially if they're recruiting from far away. Sometimes it makes it a little bit more difficult. The other phase, or phase 3, I'd like to call it, is our educational tool. And so I'd like to see this become part of maybe our curriculum as well as parent-child education. So we need to retain our youth. Our 18 to 45s are leaving. So if we start early and we educate our children about what there is to do, there's plenty to do, then hopefully we can retain those children, as well as, even if they go off to college, they'll come back and they'll realize, well, you know what, home wasn't so bad. I thought there wasn't anything to do, but really there's all this to do. And so they have that epiphany early. So that is it, and I will take any questions from the board.
Pretty amazing project. Wow. Thank you, Allison. Gentlemen, comments? Questions?
May I say one more thing? Because I forgot to
Please.
give credit where credit was due, and I don't like that. So we had a 4-person team with this. Duncan Kavanaugh was our drone pilot. He worked endless hours. Avery Ritchie did our photography as well as all of our write-ups. And then Todd Stroop, who's no longer with the COG, but he was our GIS analyst, and he's the one that actually put the tool together and tied it all together. I'm just the voice in the marketing. They did all the work. They're fabulous, and with them and stakeholders, it wouldn't be what it is. So they've done a great job. Thank you.
Questions, comments?
Allison, you probably already said that, and I just missed it. If somebody inquires, how do I find out about your county and tourism, etc., how do we access that once again?
Sure. There is a website. We have several different domains, but our primary one is www.expncfoothills.com. And what we'd like to do as far as the marketing piece is each one of our stakeholders is for them to locate on their website our logo with the link so that it's a cyclical marketing tool so that they can go to Burke County's website, they can click on the link, they can use the tool, and then it draws them right back to Burke County and all the things they have to offer. So that's what we're asking of our stakeholders. I forgot to mention that. Thank you.
Very good presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, any other questions or comments? Allison, how long did it take y'all to compile this, to get this from idea to fruition? You may have said, but
This was a 2-year project. We got started a little later, so I would say probably a year and a half, probably when you really want to get down to it. Thinking about how to make the tool work and kind of getting all the people together before we really kicked it off and started it. So I would say a year and a half, hard work.
it's a lot of content in a year and a half, so congratulations to you and all your team. Fantastic.
We're also open to suggestions. So if anybody has suggestions, feedback, no feedback's bad feedback. We can, even if it's bad, we'll take it and we'll make something positive out of it. So we welcome that.
Thank you. Any other comments, gentlemen? All right. Allison, thank you so much. Alan, thank you. Gentlemen, do we have a motion to accept the report as presented?
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Britton. All those in favor signify with uplifted hand. Madam Clerk, that is 5-0. We'll move on to item number 7 under presentations, Community Development, Watermill Access Area, Project Update. This will be presented by Shane Prisby, our Operations Manager. Shane, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Mr. Chairman. And members of the board, thank you all very much for having me here. I am quite excited to bring you all an update on the Watermill Access Update Project. So this project really began for Burke County in 2017 with the signing of a memorandum of agreement with Duke Energy to take on their responsibilities for this project from the comprehensive relicensing agreement for the Catawba Water Rehydro System. So the long discussed approval process for that document culminated in a series of recreation projects throughout North Carolina and South Carolina. And some of those projects were taken on by local governments, municipalities, other entities. And this is one that the county thought that we could do really well. There's a lot of issues with the current access as it was, the state that it was in needed a lot of attention to bring it up to the standard that we really felt it should be at. And it became pretty clear through the process that that original funding of a little over $70,000 wasn't really enough to do all of the things that we felt really needed to be done at this property. So we looked into a few different opportunities for grants, attempted that several times. That did not pan out, but we did increase the funding a little bit and looked around for other opportunities that we could move this project forward in the way that we felt it really needed to be. That led us to working with the Wildlife Resource Commission, partnering with them with their experience to really address the issues that you can see here. Let's start by the access road itself that comes right off of Watermill Glen Alpine Road. Steep, rutted, hard to use, harder if you had a boat trailer, hard to get back out of, wet, muddy, just really a number of issues from not only a user side of that, but really a maintenance side for the county. This was an expensive site to maintain, but a critical access for users of the river. It really is the midway point between Lake James and Morganton. So it's a critical access. It's a very small area that we can work with, but it just had a lot of issues. It was actually encroaching on somebody else's property. It had spread out. There were just drainage issues. And the boat ramp itself had a slight turn in it, and then suddenly went down into the lake, or into the river really quickly. And as you can see, didn't always quite make the river. So depending on when you're getting out there, the ramp kind of stopped right before you really needed it. Not only a challenge to put in, but a big challenge to pull out if you're coming down the river, trying to hit that spot and get out before you're on your way into Morganton for the rest of the day. So we looked at all of the issues. We looked at all of the things that we wanted, and one of the big ones is straightening out the ramp, giving it a consistent grade. Same thing with the road. We want that to be even, straight, so you can come in and you can back in there with the trailer. It's going to allow for bigger watercrafts like a drift boat, non-motorized recreation, but something that you can bring a trailer in and comfortably back in down to the river, launch your craft, park your vehicle, and go enjoy the time that you have to spend out here and not trying to spend all your time just getting to the water itself. And one thing that we did not want to give up was paving the site. That was something that we all felt very strongly had to happen. And when we ran the initial numbers, we came up just shy of paving. And we talked to Wildlife and we said, well, we just can't give this up. What are we going to do? And as part of their partnership, they said, we'll take on any expense over that amount. We'll find some funding that we have available to make that happen. We don't want to give that up either. So that allowed us to move from that original site to this concept plan that addresses all of these issues. It gives us a consistent 10% grade down to the road, sheds water, upgrade the drainage so we don't have mud puddles anymore, get the site entirely on Burke County property, and make the ramp usable, friendly to use, identify parking areas, and really just change this into something that everyone is really proud of and really glad to use. And so we started that process. It took a while for the initial engineering. It took even longer for the permits. There are 7 permits, easements, just the different variances that we need to get. This is a complex process when you talk about working in a river. We talked to Army Corps, DEQ, and everybody in between to get these permits. And I just wanted to show that list for everybody that for a site so small, it is a really complex project to get off the ground. So we're really fortunate to work with the Wildlife Resource Commission's construction crew. They're a phenomenal team. And they had some availability open up in their schedule. So we were able to start ahead of our timeline in May, and that allowed us to break ground, and they moved quickly. They got the ramp out, they took everything out, they scraped the site, they got it ready for the first big step, which was the construction of the boat ramp itself. And there's a couple different ways that you can build a boat ramp, but the way that they're most familiar with and is really cost effective is essentially they cast it in place. As you can see, they prep it, they cast it in place, and then they push it into the river with a bulldozer, which is an incredibly complex feat to do, a very, very technical skill, and really amazing to see. And as you can see, that suddenly you have a boat launch that's deep into the river. So they form that, they push it in 20, 30 feet, and now our boat launch is in the water, where before that boat launch was always hanging out. So that was really the critical operation. And once we got that in place, we're able to pour the rest of the ramp, and suddenly you can see the site taking shape. You can see we brought this bank back, and this side too, to widen it out, give you better views, give you more stable bank. The grass grew prolifically, which sometimes is a challenge, and then this side, really not an issue. You can see that we've rip-wrapped it, so that affects drainage. The drainage actually goes away from the ramp to minimize the amount of erosion and just improve the overall stability of the site. So from there, in early June, we got the ramp poured in place, and by the end of June, the site had been regraded, regraveled, and we were ready for paving. So this crew, again, this is what they do. They work in sites all across the state, and they are efficient, fast, and they do a phenomenal job. So this is as we're getting ready for the paving in July, marking out the sites. You can see that we've already installed the railing system, the signage. It's really starting to look like the boat launch that I think the citizens of Burke County want, need, and deserve. So this was right after paving. As you can see, suddenly we have a big access area, a wide turn, so you can enter into the site or leave with a trailer and get up to speed to meet traffic. We've got great sight lines on the road, so you don't have to worry about pulling into traffic like some other boat launches in the area. You can see well ahead, get up to speed comfortably and safely. And now here's a quick before and after of what the site looked like. And I think it's hard to tell from the pictures when they look nice, but I think this does a lot of justice. You can see the mud hole that is gone now. The site's cleaned up. We removed the center light pole. We're relocating those to the side. We're going to get better lighting and less obstruction for users. You can see the major difference in the ramp and its usability increased just from this picture alone. And you can see how that road is now a nice, even grade, easy access into the site, and something that people have already begun using. It's totally transformed. It's really hard to understate how different it is. And since we've been able to do a soft opening here in August, the next day we got the striping in, we got the signs in, somebody was down there fly fishing. It's exactly what we want to see. That is exactly what this access is for. There were cars parked. There's overflow area. If the spaces fill up at the top, we can fit additional cars with canoes and kayaks, rooftops. So we have some flex space within the narrow parameters that we have to work with. But it's just a much more usable site. It's much friendlier to enter in. It looks beautiful. The access has been greatly improved. And really, at this point, we have the soft opening. People have already figured it out. They've been emailing me about it. Are we ready to go? Can I get out there? I want to paddle this weekend. They're excited about it. They're out there using it today. And really, the only thing we have left is to talk about a ribbon cutting, if that's all what you wish to move forward on. And really just acknowledging the partnerships that went into making this project happen. I can't say enough about Duke Energy. They've been great partners on this and many other projects that we have. And agreeing to fund this in the beginning allowed us to get to where we are today. And the Wildlife Resources crew, not only the construction crew, but the engineering team and the agency as a whole, they have been just tremendous partners through all of this to bring this to the citizens of North Carolina and Burke County and to our region. So I'm really happy to present this to you all as a completed project. I'm really proud of the work that we've all done together, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have about this.
Shane, thank you. Gentlemen, comments?
I think we ought to have our next meeting out there, don't you?
If it feels like this, yeah, we can have the next meeting out there. If it's a typical August day, maybe
Really
not so
nice,
much.
really nice.
Well, it's been a long time coming, and so I already had some of the neighbors, one of them mentioned to me yesterday, he, in that neighborhood around the corner, he walks down there, he said, man, who did that? That's fantastic. He was going on and on and on. Never thought it was Burke County, by the way. I'm like, hey, dude. So he goes down there to fish. So it was, it's much needed, because Jeff, I think you just went out there here recently, and it's It looks fantastic. One question though, because my brother was out catching a bunch of trout 2 weeks ago, and he and his buddy at the time got away from us and went back to get his car, and the gate was locked. So thankfully he didn't call me. But anyway, is the gate locked at a certain time?
I don't believe we're locking it at this point.
Okay.
I'll communicate with Parks and Recreation about that.
I assume it's probably going to stay open once we get lighting in there and all that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'll be the long-term plan. That lighting will be LED. We'll have 2 poles, so it'll illuminate all the corners. One of the things with getting the site back into entirely within our property boundaries gets away from any secluded areas, so it really does bring everybody into areas that will be well lit, and I think it will be cleaner and we'll have less issues overall.
Perfect. Any other questions, comments, gentlemen? Shane, thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Awesome job. Gentlemen, do we have a motion to accept the report as presented?
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Abley. All those in favor signify with uplifted hand. That is 5-0, Madam Clerk. We've got one last presentation. This is Western Piedmont Council of Governments, our friends from there. Presentation on recruitment process for new county manager. This will be presented by Anthony Starr, the director. And Ashley Bolick, is Ashley here as well?
Ashley's not here, just
Okay.
me, sorry.
It's okay.
Thanks, Commissioners, for the opportunity to come speak to you this evening. I'm pleased to talk to you about what is probably the most important decision that you as a board makes, and that is hiring your next county manager as Mr. Steen retires later this year, and I know he gets a smile on his face every time somebody mentions it at this point probably, but we're sad to see him go, and you've benefited from his good leadership the last few years, and hopefully we can assist you in the process to select a capable successor. So for the benefit of the public, just a few things about us as the COG, and of course you as the commissioners realize that you're one of the 28 owners of the Council of Governments, and Commissioner Abley serves as your delegate, and Commissioner Carswell serves as the alternate delegate to the board, and we're governed as a governmental agency by our local governments that own us in Alexander, Burke, Caldwell, and Catawba counties. And so we have about 66 professionals that their purpose is to serve our local governments. And so we do a variety of things from community and regional planning, as Allison Adams showed you some of the work that they do, to community economic development, to housing, workforce development, aging services, but also administrative services. And so one of those administrative services is assisting our local governments with the search for their town and county managers. And our goal is to make this process easier for the board. Some of the recent searches that we've managed, we've done most of the manager searches in the region in the last few years, but they include Caldwell County, the city of Conover, city of Newton, town of Catawba, town of Hildebrand, Gamewell are just a few examples of the manager searches that we have facilitated and managed on behalf of the governing boards. And this allows the board to focus on the candidates instead of all the logistics involved with the hiring process. And so we provide assistance with the advertisement, the applications, the screening, interview questions, scheduling the interviews, observing the interviews and offering insights, background checks, and those sorts of details. In your packet, you have an overview of the process, a document that kind of outlines a few details about it. But let me say that something that you already know, but for the public's benefit as well, is that this is a confidential process under state law, and you as commissioners will not have the option of discussing any of the candidates with the public, despite whatever interest there might be. You can talk about where you're at in the process, of course. You can say we're advertising for the position, or we're in the process, or we're going to do interviews soon. You can say that sort of thing, but you are not able to tell anyone about the candidates that you are considering or the applications that you've received. You do not have the option of making that public under state law. In fact, not only is it a liability for the county, as I understand it, it could be a liability for you personally as commissioners if you violate that. We laid out a little bit of a process here. If you are eager to want us to assist you If you do want us to use our service, the next step would be a closed session to go over some additional details. But some of the examples might be is like next month or in the next couple of weeks, next few weeks, we could advertise the position. We recommend that usually be advertised for at least 4 weeks. Myself and our HR director, Ashley Bullock, would receive and review those applications based on the criteria that you establish as a board. And we would identify the top 8 to 10 candidates for you based on that criteria that you establish. We'll give you those top 8 to 10 candidates with key observations and summaries about each of those candidates, but you will receive all of the applications, but we will identify the top applicants for you. And I would say that one point that I would really emphasize is that you retain control over the decision making for this process. We're not here to tell you who to hire. I might have my own opinion, and someone might ask me who you ought to hire, but I'm not going to share that, because at the end of the day, this is about for you to determine as a board who is the best fit for Burke County, and you as the elected officials are the best suited to make that decision, not me. But we are here to make that process easier for you. So once we collect those applications and we identify those top applicants, we would review those with you in closed session, those applicants in closed session. You would pick 3 to 5 candidates to interview, and through informal or consensus decision making, and then we would contact the candidates, schedule all that for you as well. Typically, for both the review of the candidates and both for the interviews, typically only the board, the county attorney, and COG staff are present for the candidate reviews in closed session. We'll provide you a list of standard questions. Of course, if there are particular topics you want us to incorporate in those questions, we can do that. We'll write those for you. You'll get to review those questions and make sure you're comfortable with them before we get to the point in which we're doing the interviews. We'll also give them a scenario where we give them information about the county and ask that they prepare a 10 to 15 minute PowerPoint presentation as part of the interview process. That allows you to obtain greater insight about the candidate's presentation skills, charisma, personality, their analytical abilities, and that sort of thing. But as I stated before, all interviews would be in closed session under state law, and COG staff would observe the interviews. We wouldn't be actively involved in the asking of questions during that, but we would offer insight and relevant comments in between interviews. And again, as I mentioned, only the board and county attorney and COG staff are usually present. You can have the option of having the interviews off-site. There's some advantages for that for privacy reasons and protecting the identity of the candidates. If you choose to do that, you can have those at the COG office, and that's where we commonly have the interviews, but we are flexible in where you choose to have those. You would then select the top candidate. We'll conduct a more intensive background check and return the findings to the board. And then we can set up a second round of interviews for candidates, which is usually common, especially if you just want to make sure that the person you're meeting with is the person you want, or if you've narrowed it down to 2 and you need a second round to help you decide between the top 2 candidates. That is very common, and we usually do recommend that you have a second round either with the top person or the top 2 people. The board determines your top, as I mentioned before, your top candidate, and you negotiate the terms of employment. We don't assist directly in the negotiation phase. And what we normally recommend is, well, let me back up. I will facilitate you as a board coming to what your range of terms you are comfortable with and what you might offer to the successful candidate. And I can give you examples of employment agreements. I'm sure you already have some examples. I can give you some of the norms of some of those terms. But at the end of the day, what I usually recommend is that your board chair and your county attorney lead the negotiations on behalf of the board when you get to that place. And of course, we can assist the manager in the transition and serve as a resource for insight and advice as they get situated and move into that. So if you start in the next few weeks, there was an outline of a schedule there. That was just a sample schedule. It's not necessarily anything you're locked into. And you can start right away if you use us, or you can wait a while. That's entirely up to you about the timing, and I can help you sketch out the impacts of that. If you start in the next few weeks, then you would be positioned to be able to have the new person begin work in early January. Otherwise, if you wait, a couple more months or so, there's some thoughts about that, but it would mean you probably would have to appoint someone as an interim manager unless Mr. Steen stayed over for a little bit. So be glad to answer any questions you have. And thanks for the opportunity to talk to you a little bit about our service.
Thank you, Anthony. Gentlemen, you've heard the presentation. Questions, comments?
Mr. Chairman, I do have a question. Anthony, Wayne and I did not refile for county commissioners.
Yes, sir.
So our term ends the 30th.
Yes.
So in my mind, if we need to back this process up, that we do this last step, which you got early December, before the end of November. Now, if they won't, if that's not workable, Wayne will just disappear. So, but I just wondered if that was thought about as a question,
Yeah, I think
because new commissioners coming on won't have the background information, the study and the interviews, et cetera, to make the wisest decision on the behalf of the citizens of Burke County.
I think that is a decision for you as a board to collectively decide about the timing of that. We can work with you on whatever schedule you decide. Certainly, there's the informal and confidential portion of the process, which includes the interviews. And then there's the formal process, which when you go to actually appoint the manager, that has to occur in open session. And it's up to you about the timing of that in terms of whether that occurs before the new board is seated or with the existing board. But that is for you as a board to collectively decide.
Duly noted, sir.
Gentlemen, any other questions, comments? You've had an opportunity to read the materials. Anthony, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, gentlemen, that gets us to the end of presentations, which we had a lot of information under presentations. The next item is scheduled public hearings. We have none, so we'll move on to item number 8, informal public comments. I would ask each speaker that comes to the front to make sure the red light is on and that you stick to the 3-minute time limit. And I'll ask Madam Clerk at this point, do we have anybody signed up to speak?
We sure do, Mr. Chairman. We have, I have 3 members that have pre-registered. Reverend Tommy Carpenter. You want to cut the mic off?
Good evening.
Evening.
I noticed that from sitting in my chair, I noticed that there's a sign that says, "In God We Trust." My mind began to search back. And I remember in the commandments it says something about, "Thou shalt have no other God before me." And as I began to think about that for a moment, I wonder, have we made a God out of the monument? Some folks say it's heritage, but when you put your life on the line for something that is made of clay, stone, or metal, the Bible says that you worship something that has eyes and cannot see, ears and cannot hear, feet and cannot walk, hands and cannot touch. And then the Bible sums it up and say, and it has no breath in them. I was born in Burke County. I was assembled at the courtyard house many times, and I always wondered, there were signs like colored bathroom, white bathroom, colored water fountain, white bathrooms or water fountains. And I began to look at the Bible, and the Bible says something about reconciliation. And it talks about Jesus dying that we might be reconciled. He said, if any man be in Christ, he's a new creation. And he's given us as Christians as the ministry of reconciliation. I'm wondering, I don't doubt people's salvation, but we can be reconciled with Christ and not be reconciled with one another. And I believe that that we have so much trust in the monument that it has become a god. We would die for it, those of us that worship it. But would we stand up for Christ like we stand up for the monument? Would we get our guns out like they did a few months ago and stand for Jesus Christ the same way? Would we fly flags for him? I'm questioning that. I want to know what reconciliation looks like. Does it look like when I come up as a child that we went to the Mimosa Theater, we had to go to the left side up the stairs, the white were able, privileged to go downstairs? Is that reconciliation? What does it really look like? What does this monument really stand for? Does it stand for truth? Or is there any history involved in it? But my brothers this evening, I'm in favor of removing the monument because I think it stands for the wrong purpose. It can stand for the right purpose in another place. I'm not saying destroy it, but I'm just saying it's at a place where people worship it more than the Creator. God bless you.
Thank you, Reverend.
Miss Eloise Berry.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I am here on behalf of the monument statue also. I think it's a racist thing, and I have an experience with it. Back in the 1970s, our great Burke County gave the Ku Klux Klans the offer that they could march here in Burke County, which they did. I had been to work that day, came home, came shopping, standing on the street, and a police walked up to me and said, ma'am, said the man over there in the white suit said, I need to search your pocketbook, said, because you have a gun. I said, no, you will not search my pocketbook. I have no gun, and I'm going to stand here on the street. Didn't even know that the Klan was going to be in town. They started the marching, so we joined in and marched behind them. We marched down to the street, to the old jail down there. While we were down there, the Grand Duke, whatever his name was, he hit me. I went to the clerk of court, to the magistrates, and asked about taking out a warrant or anything. They said, no, you cannot do that. It was probably a mistake. So everybody came on back up to the street. And what hurt me the most is that he got right at that statue and started praying. And the first words that come out of his mouth was, you black people ought to be glad that we let you live here. Now to me, I mean, out of all the places he could have stood uptown, he stood right at the foot of that monument. To me, if that wasn't racist, I don't know what it was. And our great Burke County that I was raised in, born in here, been here all my life, gave them, and they're not the only county, but I would think more of Burke County, gave them the permit to walk and come through our town, somewhere that we have to live. Maybe that doesn't mean anything to you all, but it meant a lot to me to know that I couldn't be free on my own street, that a police would walk up to me and tell me, I need to look in your pocketbook, because a white man told him I had a gun in my pocketbook. He didn't see no gun. But that lets me know that we got a lot to do here in Burke County. That may be happening in the 70s, but I'm 80 years old, and it still sticks with me today. And that monument, I think, needs to come down. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Miss Carla Kincaid.
Good evening. Carla Kincaid, resident of Burke County. I've been here several meetings. I'm going to start off by saying what I saw on the introduction for the nice introduction of our foothills that we saw up there. It said quality of life is what everyone wants. In reference to that. Then I want to say something else. I want to give us a little scenario of Steve or a statue. Imagine a comet is falling from the sky towards an innocent person. His name is Steve. If you do nothing, it will injure Steve so badly that he will suffer for decades before dying. If you push Steve out of the way, the comet will strike the statue sitting up there on the corner and permanently destroy it. What should you do? It seems clear to me you should save Steve instead of the statue. If this is right, then we should believe that whatever reason there is to preserve Confederate monuments for their supposed historical aesthetic value, that reason is outweighed by the reasons we have to prevent the underdeserved, avoidable, not just suffering, anxiety, and just thinking back and what Miss Eloise was saying, there's things that we just have this deep down in that has happened in the past. Such monuments cause. And also, it concerns me also that they say that history repeats itself. And when I see the flags, again, as you enter and as you leave the county, and then the county seat has the Confederate statue, then it reminds me that what kind of people are we going to bring in the future here? What does that say about the people that's coming in Burke? There's some good industries and other things coming in, but what about that? And who we are inviting in our city, in our county? Do you not think that it distracts people who have that Confederate-minded attitude? And that's what I'm concerned about. History repeating itself again. Also, I just wanted to say this about myself. I come every county commission. I enjoy not only discussing the Confederacy, but I'm learning a lot of other things about the county as well. But I say this about myself. Strong people stand up for themselves, but stronger people stand up for others. And I'm standing up for generations to come as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McKay.
That's all the folks that I have that pre-registered.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Then, gentlemen, that'll move us to item number 9, consent agenda. I'll ask our county manager to review those items, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You have 4 items. Number 1, finance, HRC roof membrane replacement. Item 2, tax department, tax collection report for July of 2022. Item 3, tax department, release refund report for July 2022. And item 4, tax department, order to collect 2022 taxes. That concludes your consent agenda.
Gentlemen, what's the pleasure of the board?
Make the motion, we approve all 4.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. All those in favor signify with uplifted hand. That is 5-0, Madam Clerk. That'll move us on to item number 10, items for decision. First being amendment to janitorial contract presented by our county manager, Mr. Steen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the board, as you saw tonight, our animal services people are overwhelmed. And unfortunately, we did not add in the cleaning of that facility to help save them some time that they could commit towards the welfare of the animals that they have in their care. So we are coming back to amend the contract. Since the contract was such that the board had to approve the original contract, we felt it needed to approve this amendment. But the only thing that's changing is they're adding the space over the animal services. The amount of money for the contract, if I'm correct, is the same as originally passed. Is that correct, Margaret?
No, sir, it
All right.
increases the contract and funds are included in the budget
All right,
already.
I'm sorry. Part is, the money is there. I'm sorry.
Gentlemen, comments, questions?
Mr. Chairman, I had one, that amount I believe was $500 and odd dollars. Is that correct a month?
500.
And Margaret, will that be billed to the will that be charged or increase the budget of the animal shelter?
It will be paid for underneath the building budget. All the custodial contracts or payments are under the building budgets. Yes, sir, that will be increased. Mr. Delahunt was able to find funds in another department in his budget to cover the added expense.
And the total amount is $6,000.
I don't have the amount in front of me, but yes, sir, it was a little over $6,000, I believe, for the year.
That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? If not, what's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I make a recommendation that we approve the request as rendered.
So the motion is to approve the amendment to the janitorial contract with Patton Cleaning Company Incorporated as presented and authorize the county manager to execute the amendment on behalf of the board. That's Commissioner Taylor's motion. All those in favor signify with uplifted hand. That is 5-0, Madam Clerk. Item number 2, Tax Department Collections Annual Settlement Report 2021/2022, presented by our friend John Bridgers, our tax administrator. John, how are you?
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, I'm doing well.
Good, sir.
I'm sorry. Good evening, Mr. Chairman. I'm doing well, and Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to be here and present this information to you. The summary for the settlement for 2021-22 taxes is in several sections. Section 1 is the property tax report, and we collected for $2,827.88 in prepayments. That was for the 2022 taxes. For the 2021 taxes, we collected $45,631,064.44. Delinquent taxes collected that were owed from 1996 through 2020 was $760,034.25 for a total collected of $46,393,926.57. For the total taxes collected for county only, you see the list there, advertising fee, garnishment, interest, and so forth. Total was $636,007.33. In Section 2, the vehicle tax collection only for the county only for the VTS was $5,766,130.36. Interest on that was $32,096 for a total of $5,798,131.32. Property taxes collected for all other jurisdictions for July 1, 2021 to June 30th, 2022 was $5,054,473.71. Tag and taxes and charges of all other jurisdictions, the BTS tax was $1,865,889.61. The interest collected was $10,781.47. Vehicle fee for the city of Hickory was $645. Vehicle fees for the city of Morganton was $277,160 for a total of $2,154,476.08. Property tax charge back of delinquent taxes and related charges. These are taxes that have not been collected and are charged back to the collector to collect or to attempt to collect. For the county only is $828,304.74. All other jurisdictions was $185,924.39. For a total of $2,014,924.39. These are taxes from 2012 through 2021. For all other jurisdictions, I've already said that. Property taxes not charged back to the collector is, for the county, is $74,566.76. For all other jurisdictions is $6,761.18, for a total of $81,327.94. Additional revenues collected, rental vehicles for the county only is $60,868.36. Rental vehicles for the city of Hickory was $24,747.71. Occupancy tax is $867,264.66. Occupancy additional tax is $72.27. Occupancy tax late penalty is $343.24. Occupancy filing penalty is $1,234.09. Beer and wine late fee was $15. Beer and wine off premises fees was $435. Beer and wine on off premises was $1,500. Wine off premises was $1,675. And wine on premises is $1,250, for a total of $956,414.33. The delinquent taxpayers report is the total taxes that are delinquent and from various sources: business, personal property, real estate, personal property, public utilities, etc. The total amount is $727,140.26. And the summary of enforced collection activity are this: debt set-off, bank attachment or garnishment, wage garnishment, and foreclosure. And I certify that we've made a diligent effort to collect these taxes and delinquent taxes through the remedies that are available to the tax office, and I respectfully submit this to you for your approval. Any questions, sir?
John, thank you. Any questions, comments?
Mr. Chairman, I had a question for the monies, didn't have that correct? And it disappeared off of my computer, I guess. I just couldn't find it. I won't say it disappeared, I'll say I couldn't find it. And I had called Margaret. But anyhow, I will try to look that up. I have tried and tried and tried to find that page. It originally was on page 263, but it's not there now. But Madam Clerk, I think that comes because I get started on Sunday and we add information on Monday. And this meeting, we added stuff Monday afternoon, which we're supposed to be on there 2 business days, and it changed the page numbers. And, you know, I've spent 2 hours trying to find those pages and I haven't found them yet. But anyhow, if I find it, I'll get in touch with you. That's the best way to do it.
I could very easily have made a transposition error or addition error, something, and it's certainly not my intent to pull the wool over your eyes. And if you do find it, please let me know and I'll look into it.
Okay. I will contact you if I'm lucky enough to find it.
Any other questions, comments?
John, where in these numbers would the revenue collected from our tax attorney who works on these through the course of the year, he collects tax, where would that fall in here?
Where would the numbers, I'm sorry, I didn't understand your question.
Our tax attorney that's working on past due taxes.
They would, they would be in the delinquent, they're not set out anywhere. They're in those delinquent taxes that are collected. Would be in the,
So
On
his work is not separated from the work that your office does.
no, sir. It's all what the tax collector staff, they get through garnishment and that type of stuff. It's all just, according to the computer system, it's all just delinquent taxes. And that's all under Section 1, under that delinquent taxes from 1996 to 2020.
Okay, we haven't heard from them lately. Can we get an update kind of on how they're doing sometime in the future?
Well, the foreclosure, you're talking about the foreclosure property?
I'm talking about the folks that work for us out of Asheville.
Yeah, the law firm. They are still working, and I actually, on that, I forgot the name of the subdivision down there on the county line. I got a call just last week from somebody looking to purchase that and turn all those lots and turn it into something pretty, he said. So I said, well, I hope you're successful, and I look forward to sending you a tax bill.
So that would be the Bondview properties. That was the biggest debt that we had, was the Bondview
He was talking about all of it. It was something like 600 lots or something.
Okay. So he's talking about every delinquent property in Pine Mountain Lakes.
He was talking about everything, the convention center and the golf course, everything.
Okay.
I'd say welcome to Burke County then. That would be awesome.
And I told him, I said, anything I can help you do, just let me know, because it will help the county.
And as Commissioner Britton said, maybe next time you could address where we stand on delinquent taxes and penalties from an update from that law firm specifically. Let us know the progress we've made.
I'll be glad to do that.
Any other questions or comments, gentlemen? If not, what's the pleasure of the board? Thank you, John.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the tax collection settlement report for 21-22 as presented.
Thank you, Commissioner Carswell. All those in favor signify with uplifted hand. Madam Clerk, that is 5-0. We'll move on to item number 3, health request for approval of out-of-state travel presented by Danny Scalise, local health director. Danny, how are you, sir?
I'm well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, gentlemen. So we have 3 travel requests that are here. 2 are for me and 1 is for one of the nurses. I'd like to talk about the nurse first. It's the National Harm Reduction Conference. Ashley Jarrett is the nurse, and she is our lead communicable disease nurse. She's the one that handles COVID-19, HIV, hepatitis C, monkeypox, or anything else that you don't want to experience. This is an educational experience for her that she hasn't been able to go to in the past. They didn't go to a lot of conferences outside of the state. In fact, they went to very few inside the state. But I want our folks to learn a little more and to network with their colleagues across the country. I've been invited to speak at that conference, which is the other one that was there. I don't believe I'll spend the money that I've asked for on the request. My expenses, my flight, and my hotel have been paid for by an outside group. And the other one is my trip later in the year to the American Public Health Association, where I'm one of the leaders of that group in Boston, Massachusetts.
All right. Gentlemen, questions, comments?
Mr. Chairman, I do not know, but I guess, JR, do we have a policy concerning out-of-state travel? And what does that policy say?
Just that it takes commissioner approval is all that I'm aware of.
Yes.
Commissioner approval? Does, usually when you go for a speaker like that, they pay you to be there, or is that the case with this?
In this event where I'm going to be the speaker, Commissioner, yes, someone is paying for my flight and for my hotel room. It's being comped to me as a speaker.
It's quite a compliment to be asked to be guest speaker and get
Absolutely.
not only out-of-state travel, much less in-state. We've been, hampered where we couldn't have, our folks could represent us statewide, but we've obviously now got, Commissioner Carswell has represented us nationwide, and so, this is an opportunity. We're gonna take a look at that travel procedure because it's antiquated at best. It is an ultimate compliment to the board to have folks that like Danny and other staff members that get these opportunities, and we don't want to stand in that way, in my opinion. And if I'm not mistaken, the Board of Health has a separate board that has approved this.
So all the travel that you see here was built into, when we brought the budget to you, it was in the narrative that we submitted to the county manager.
So that just
So
been.
you've already approved it, yes, in terms of the budget.
So for clarity, because people will say, well, I see going out of, that was already approved, and that's how, is the decision to make, that comes directly out of your budget. We're not approving any extra funds,
That's correct.
just for clarity for public sake.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Gentlemen, any other questions or comments?
Well, that was another one that I had. Which funds would it come out of? And it's coming out of your DSS budget?
Public health, sir. Yes, sir.
Public health.
Health Department.
Public, excuse me, yes. That's all the questions I had.
All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
We definitely need to approve the out-of-state travel request for the health director and the public health nurse too, as presented.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Abley. Heard the motion. All those in favor signify with the uplifted hand. That is 5-0. Thank you, Danny.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Patience paid off. All right, gentlemen. That brings us to reports and comments. We'll start with Margaret Pierce.
Had a nice conference last week with you commissioners. A lot of great information was shared over that 3-day period that we hope to use and learn from. We are well into audit season and working hard on that, and our auditors will be here starting September 6th to go through the county's books and reports and have that for you hopefully no later than early December.
Fantastic. JR?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since the last meeting of the Commissioners on July 19th, I have completed the Meritor Heavy Vehicle Systems LLC local grant agreement that was known as Project Bravo. In the process of finishing up the Equinus local government grant agreement, we've successfully negotiated, we believe, an amendment to the restrictive covenants on property that the county was interested in purchasing, and think that sale may be able to go through now. I have reviewed the proposed Uniform First Responders Agreement. I've reviewed the contract and correspondence on our 911 platform. I've received referral concerning 2 commercial businesses in residential zoning areas, and I'm preparing to file suit against both of those. I'm involved now in title searches on certain of the PARTIF properties that the county will be acquiring for trail use. I've reviewed the building reuse grant that Meritor Heavy Vehicle Systems has been granted by the state, and preparing a deed of trust to protect the county's investment there. I've drafted an amendment to the Patent Cleaning Company contract for the Animal Services Building. Researching criminal background checks for volunteer fire department new applicants, and have responded to human resources concerning their response and inaction, and concerning an issue of accrued vacation pay on employee termination. And I took a vacation for the first time since 2013, and I appreciate being able to get off of that. Thank you.
Good for you. Well deserved. Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just wanted to remind folks to spay or neuter their pets, to pick up trash if you're able, and to cover your loads on the way to the landfill.
Couldn't say it better. Absolutely. Brian?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gentlemen, I received an email today from Pete Mentor, and his email tells me that Bradley Kirkley was awarded the Zoning Official of the Year award by the North Carolina Association of Zoning Officials at today's NCAZO Awards luncheon.
Wow. Fantastic. Fantastic. Commissioner Abe?
I'll comment.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes, sir, this might take a little time, Mr. Chairman. I promised to do a couple of things from the NCACC annual meeting. But anyhow, in addition to the regular meetings, Scott and I attended the ribbon cutting for the Buster Ribbon Cutting at Hildebrand Town Hall. Attended the annual meeting of August 11th through the 13th of the NCACC meeting. One of the sessions I went to was veterans. Madam Clerk, this is what they requested that we do. They have picked a statewide promo, Shining Light for Veterans and Services. They say that all counties have signed up to participate, but the reason we need to share this information with you is that the green lights, I understand the Veteran Association has ordered enough for every county. There is a fee to buy those green lights. They request that we participate by those lights being on government buildings, businesses, homes, or anywhere else that would support the veterans. The event is November the 7th through the 13th, and they need this on your our September agenda. That'd be up to the board for approval, because it'll take time for the veterans to get all the information, to get the lights ordered and get them distributed before the actual event. And I have a little bit of information on that, but they said the veterans, by the end of the month, the Veterans Association and county offices would have this information and some of the lights by the end of this month, so they can begin their work. Special meeting, I promised that I would talk to an attorney, and I did. And special meetings cannot be combined with other meetings. The definitive of the special meetings are that you hold the meeting other than your regular meeting place, and that means at somebody's office, at somebody's business, at kind of like we would have a Burke County Commissioners and a Morganton Council meeting at a neutral or a location of whatever the event's going on at that time. This is, well, I'll not say that. Anyhow, special meetings are only allowed, or should be only allowed, when it's held at a different location, and I think you have to have it posted not 2 days, but at least 5 days, but I'm not sure about that, Madam Clerk. At our last meeting, I called point of order when the chairman broke the rules and allowed people to speak that did not follow the rules. Here is the attorney's response. Oh, no, not the chairman. His actions forfeits the right to call another board member out of order. He also opens the door for every guest in your meeting a time to speak. He says your rules do not apply. Why? He stated a friend came by and he wanted to let him speak. Means it was probably set up in advance, which is a triple no-no. If I pulled up the rules of the county that you approved and sworn affidavit to those rules, nowhere in either document does it say that the chairman is exempt of the rules and does not have to follow them. Would that be a true statement, gentlemen? Do we exempt chairman or vice chairman or any one of us from breaking the rules? So we exempt from breaking the rules. To some people, that's a little thing. To me, that's a big thing. It affects the entire board when these things happen. The fifth item that I wanted to discuss with you, and I have a point at the end of it. I have 2 points, really. Some of you know, some of you don't know that clutch came out of my big farm tractor, which means I can't make hay, I can't do anything because my tractor is down. That's a 115 horsepower tractor. It weighs about 14,000 pounds. The transmission on that tractor has 4 clutch pods, and that's to work the power shift. And it has the main clutch, which is about 15 inches and probably weighs 150 pounds. The point to telling you and informing you of this stuff, I tried to get mechanics for 6 weeks to fix my tractor. When 6 weeks passed, my son and I decided, well, we'll just have to do it ourselves. Now, you would have laughed at us, I'm sure, because it was real funny when you looked at when we got that tractor separated, and we had laid boards all the way around that tractor, and we laid these parts down as they came out so we'd know how to put them back. It was over $3,000 worth of parts, and we began the process of splitting that tractor. And with even the 10% discount, I had over $3,000 in part. Now, the objective of this story, gentlemen, is this. After doing all this stuff, and by the way, we work 2 hours an evening, maybe 2 days a week, and a half a day Saturday for about 4 or 5 weeks, a little more than a month maybe. And I came up to this conclusion. Folks, America, for the biggest part, is working at about 60% of its performance. Now you think about that. Wayne tells me nightmare stories about people who work for him won't come back to work. And I think about the Burke County employees. We've grown 125 employees, I think I've counted in 6-7 years. We don't get any more done. We still are usually behind, and people are still asking for more employees almost every year. Our budget has been increasing at $5 million a year for the last several years, anywhere from $4 to $5 million. And it is adding up to be a lot of money. I think the COVID has taught us as a country that we don't have to do things on time. We can put it off to tomorrow. I don't have to follow the rules. And I get quite a few comments from workers. I got 2 calls today from our employees of things going on that whoever's the manager of that person should not be allowed to do. And I think this board, I'm going to point to this, folks, I'm about to disappear. And I think this board ought to have a meeting, and then we ought to revisit some of the things that we've done that have cost a lot of money, and are we really getting the dollars worth for those investments? It is not gonna get any better, and I had given you that copy from, the North Carolina's workbook, that, 3-day event. What gets done is what gets measured. And are we measuring the results of what work is getting done? End of story. Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Britton?
No comment, sir.
Mr. Carswell?
No comment, sir.
Well, I do want to mention that we are all down at, I know Commissioner Taylor, myself, Commissioner Britton, Commissioner Carswell, all at NCACC. Mr. Carswell and I were down there from last Wednesday through Sunday. He is now the president-elect of the whole association. He didn't say anything, but now he is, that means this time next year he will be president. So congratulations on that. I do want to say that Commissioner Taylor mentioned all the classes. They keep you very busy down there. Go to conference. It is a full day, every day for 4 days. And one of those days, our friend, Commissioner Frank Williams, he's the current, or was the current president of the NCACC from Brunswick County. His initiative, the presidential initiative this year was 100 counties prepared, managing, responding, and recovering for disasters. So that was a full day class. I was a member of that class, where that was the first class offered, and that is going to be a initiative that will carry forward. So that was a lot of fun, a lot of interesting information. So got a lot out of that. As far as other information, I do want to say happy early birthday to our county manager, Brian. He has a birthday on Friday. I won't tell you how old he is. He shares it with my wife, Laura. So happy birthday to them both. A few courtesy reminders. County offices will be closed on September 5th for Labor Day. Upcoming meeting dates, September 6th, pre-agenda, and September 20th, regular meeting. And this will get us to vacancy reports. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, ladies and gentlemen of the audience. We have the following opportunities for citizens to be involved in county boards and committees: the Adult Care and Nursing Home Community Advisory Committees, City of Morganton Board of Adjustment and Planning Board for the ETJs, Burke Senior Center Advisory Council, Child Protection and Child Fatality Prevention Team, East Burke Senior Center Advisory Board, Burke County Board of Adjustment, Council on Aging, Burke County Board of Health, and Partners Consumer and Family Advisory Committee for the Traumatic Brain Injury seat.
I had down on my notes, but didn't read them. I did want to tell you and the county that Johnny Carswell did us proud in his presentation at the county convention. There was quite an expression of understanding, if that's a word, but the sharing of the need and the sharing of his loss of a loved one to drugs. And he just did a fantastic job with that. So he made you proud. That's what I wanted to tell you. Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Commissioner Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. At this point, there is a need for closed session, so we need a motion to go into closed session pursuant to NCGS 143-31.11A 3, 4, 5, and 6, and invite the Health and HR Directors to join the meeting. Do we have that motion? Thank you, Commissioner Britton. All those in favor? Aye. Signify. All right. Gentlemen, we had a proper motion to come out of closed session. Now we will return to open session. Gentlemen, what's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the starting salary of a public health nursing director 1 position at 60% of the pay range for grade 30.
Thank you, Commissioner Carswell. All those in favor signify with uplifted hand. That is 5-0, Madam Clerk. Gentlemen?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move that the Burke County Board of Commissioners utilize the service of the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners to assist us in the hiring process for our next county manager.
Thank you, Commissioner Britton. All those in favor signify with the uplifted hand. That is 5-0, Madam Clerk. And at this point, all business has been done. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. All those in favor? I didn't think we